If you follow the channel for a while, you might be familiar with this talking head setup with my desk behind me, but today I want to show you what's in front of me that you probably never saw, unless you follow me on Instagram where I post behind the scenes. It's my camera gear. To serve better my need, I upgraded the Sony A7IV with this huge cinema rig, but is it enough to be called a cinema camera? In this video we're gonna be going into full detail of all the pieces that I used to build this cage and cinema setup. Of course I'll leave all the links in the description, and we'll talk about why you should consider buying and building a camera cage and cinema setup like this, and if it's worth the money. The base idea that I had in mind was to build a rig that was modular, easy to both mount and remove in just seconds. I needed to be reliable and adaptive. Many combinations needed to be possible for it to be ready to any possible scenario. But why? The main reason why you should consider this setup are two. First, it makes you look more professional to your clients. You arrive like this, and definitely you can charge more for your work with an heavier setup. I know it sounds stupid, but it's the truth. You look more experienced and professional. And the second, it will help a lot to have handles and grips and make you more steady in your movement and precise. And the field monitor helps a lot with focus and exposure, so you don't make mistakes. And focus mistakes are a big problem. I built this setup to be modular. The main part is what I call the core rig, the minimum gear that you can use in a run and gun situation shooting, which is composed by the camera, the cage and handle. The starting point of all the rig is the cage. I'm using the Sony A7IV small rig full cage. This model works both for Sony A7S3 and 4, which are slightly different and needs only small adjustment. The cage protects your camera with rubber points and gives you a ton of 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch mounting points on top and on the sides, and an Arca Swiss plate integrated in the base, which is really nice. There's even a nice sign to tell you when the camera is centered. I really love the black color that blends in with the camera and very high quality metal build. It follows the camera design, leaving free the SD card door and the battery door even if you want to remove it for dummy batteries. There is even a clever magnetic hand tool hidden in the base. Normal family situation or photography, I like to have only the camera and I can call the day. I can also mount it on my DJI Ronin for balanced shots and just with a quick release plate. I uniform all my gear to UTB quick release plates. They aren't as cool as others, but are fairly inexpensive, and I couldn't get many of them for all my tripods, slider and gimbal and so on. But when I want to make moving shots handheld or longer shooting, I can't do without my small rig wooden handle with the red record button. First of all, it's super cool with the wood and the red button, and second, it's convenient and comfortable. I like to be able to hold the camera with one hand and then change the settings with the other hand. I choose a rosette mount because I'm able to change the tilt of the grip, but I wanted to also to be able to remove it fairly easily, so I added a nut, clamp and rail to the grip so that I could remove it in just a second. In this way it will be larger, of course, which could be a downside in terms of balancing the setup, but it gives me more leverage and arm when I make really nice punch shots, and I really like. The record trigger is connected via USB-C to micro USB port on the camera. This is really convenient because now you can change the red circle button on the camera to other settings. For example, I put the frame rate and record just with the main button and the grip button. Design wise, I think that wooden handles are better than metal because they are warmer at touch and they contrast really well with the black of cameras. The third piece of the core rig is the top handle. It's useful if you want to make low angle shots or generally it is a good point to make B-roll movement. It's easy to bring around and it's metal. Best of things is included with a small rig Sony A7IV base cage kit. The grip is fairly large and well balanced and gives you a ton of mounting points as well. Again, I wanted it to be easy to remove, so I used a NATO rail and a clamp to do that. If for some reason wanted to change it with the wooden grip, I could for vertical photos and videos. Probably in the future I will upgrade to this wooden top handle that has integrated NATO clamp and blends in with the hood handle and side handle. Now, when I'm shooting videos, whether it's for YouTube or for professional work, I can't do that without my field monitor. I use the NDCine C7, which is a full HD 16:10 super bright monitor with 2200 nits. I made a dedicated review, so I suggest you watching this for more info. But essentially it's far better than built-in screen. It has color accuracy and brightness curves, lots support false color, and you can see at a glance what you are recording and if it's on focus. This will save you time and money if you are a professional. I decided to mount it on the top handle because it's the most convenient place, since you can turn it and tilt it. But very important is the small rig friction connection. With one hand you can adjust the tilt and boom, that's done. I prefer it than the regular arm, which feels quite cheap and isn't really that great. But you might be thinking, how do we power up all this power hungry rig? There are a few ways of how you could solve this problem. The simplest is to use separate batteries, one for the camera and one for the monitor. Or you could go the opposite way, using all dummy batteries and powering everything from an external big battery. Well, I prefer the third option, which is an hybrid that combines both of these approaches. Since I wanted this setup to be modular, I needed separate batteries if I wanted to use the camera only, but I also needed power to power up the rig for a longer session. So I found the balance using the power delivery feature introduced by Sony. I talked into details of the benefits in this video about the overheating of the Sony A7IV, but in short, we drastically reduce overheating if we don't use internal batteries. To connect the battery rig, I added the small rig baseplate with 50mm rods. It helps to balance the weight and attach the battery to the setup. I decided to use an external V-mount battery, the Moman Power 99, with almost 7000 mAh that will power your setup for all the day. I choose it because it's super compact and makes the overall setup more convenient and easy to use. It has dual D-tap and dual USB ports, which I use for direct USB power delivery to my camera. In my opinion, it's the best option for professional work. You could connect all the cables to the battery, but I prefer to use a V-mount battery plate. I'm using one from Sunwell. It's an extra cost, of course, but it gives me much more flexibility because all the power cables are connected to the plate and I can detach the battery to change it or to charge it. It has native USB port and D-tap. For my favorite feature is on-off power button. If I want to turn off all the setup, just boom, one button. Anyway, I have an USB to USB-C cable with angle that charges the camera. With power delivery, the external battery will power up the camera while turned on and charging the internal battery only when it's turned off. You have two positives. One, it won't fry your battery, and two, you will always have the internal battery charged if you want to detach all the setup for a run and gun situation. Same thing with the field monitor that can be powered up with a D-tap or a barrel, but also from a separate battery. Basically, I use the battery rig on the tripod and only for long outdoor shooting. You can see that the battery rig has a quick release on top and to connect to the camera rig and the core rig, and one on bottom to connect to tripod and slider. Now, I'm no expert in cinema rigs and I must confess it was my first one. However, it turned out pretty neat. What do you think? My advice is to use spiral cable if you can, and 90-degree angle cables like HDMI or USB-C because they are neater and easier to cable manage. There are some improvements to make in the future, like the top wooden handle. I mentioned the NATO rail with quick release of the monitor arm and the battery plate is very big. I'm looking forward for the Nitsi USB model as well that will come out later this year. Now, I won't lie to you, this setup won't come cheap. The setup as I built it is around $1,000 divided in 300 for the core rig, 280 for the field monitor, and 350 for the battery rig. If you choose to use dummy batteries, you need to use another $100 because good adapters don't come cheap. If you want, you can get a cheaper field monitor saving $60 like the NDC C7 Lite. You can skip the battery rig saving $350 and going to $600. If you want, you can remove the NATO accessories saving again $60 and going to $540, and you get the cage, the top and side handle and the field monitor. So what do you think? I think that professionals that take full advantage of this setup, saving time and making money, will pay it back very quickly. And then it's so cool to run and gun with such a big and badass setup. So this wraps up for today. Let me know what you guys think about this setup. If you have any question, the comment section is your place. Be sure to like this video and subscribe, and stay tuned on Shades of Tech. Ciao!